documents available.
Mike, did we make sure that, I guess, right now it's transition, but the chamber director and then Tom Reader had copies of that as well available, because I'm sure those questions come their way as well, often, or make sure it's there in their hands and they have access to it?
That's a good recommendation. I'll make sure they have access, or they have actual copies of them.
I think that's really good. It's a good step in the right direction from the standpoint of just being proactive with our communications. I think a lot of the problems that we've seen in the past have to do with the fact there wasn't sufficient upfront communication in the process, and this helps a lot. Okay. Thanks.
Anything else from staff or council? Council have anything for staff?
I have one very quick thing for Chief, and not for this evening, but just to plant the seed. As we get closer to the end of the school year, I wouldn't mind seeing a very quick summary review of how the first year of the crossing guard contract has gone, and the input, if might that be from the principals, if they could just be reached out with a phone call to ask how the plans worked and things that we may need to plan for next school year.
Okay, absolutely, we'll take care of it.
Great, thanks, Chief.
I have a couple of things really quickly. First of all, I wanted to see what the status was on the meeting to discuss the utilities, where we're standing right now with the work session with individuals who might have been invited for that, and just get a little bit of update. And I'll let you answer that, I guess.
You want to provide an update on where?
Yeah, we've had a number of discussions with Colin, McPherson, Garden City, and some other utilities. The 14th is actually going to be a pretty tough one because of other meetings that these boards have. And so the feedback we're starting to get, is there any way we can do it the 15th or 16th, which is a Tuesday or a Wednesday? So we'll be coming back to you once we get more feedback from all the parties, if one of those days would be available for you guys.
Okay. Well, I'm sure we'll get polled on that soon, but, yeah, you know, hopefully one of the other dates will work. If it's one off of a Monday, maybe that'll work for everybody. We'd certainly like to see us get there, you know, no later than the middle of next month.
Great.
Was there anything else?
Yeah, the second one I had was a question about Charter Ordinance 19 and whether or not there was going to be any work sessions coming up in the next month and a half to discuss that.
I'll let you. There isn't anything in the next month and a half or so that I know of.
No, we don't have anything. We were asked to kind of work on Charter Ordinance 19 once we completed the work efforts on the EUB. So council would like to do that concurrently with the work session we're doing, or after that. We just need your direction.
The EUB is finished, I guess. So the BPU, you know, just to make sure that
Okay.
the terminology is correct, is going to be an ongoing thing.
I agree.
Okay.
Forever, if you want my honest opinion. So, really, Charter Ordinance 19 should take a primary focus right now,
Okay.
as Chris had argued for in April.
Well, my concern here is because, and obviously, there's an elections component to this, and we're a little more than a year removed from the next elections. If we delay much longer on deliberating or revising Charter Ordinance 19, now it's going to become, there's going to be an impact on the next election cycle. We need to start looking at that sooner rather than later.
Okay. We will have staff poll for a date for a workshop.
Then also, I'm sorry.
Actually,
That's
was that it?
That's it.
You had the
Those are the two I had.
Larry, if you.
Then, you know, it's been a couple of years since we talked about the dangerous animal ordinance. We have new people. I think really there's only 3 legacy members of the last council that decided on that, and it should come up, I think. I know it's something you and I were on the same page with earlier, right, Mayor?
Well, I know that I favored looking into the way it was currently constructed. But at this point, on that particular issue, I'll go with the consensus of council, what they want to do.
I guess in my work, I hear more and more, at least in the rental market, that there's a vicious dog problem, and that a certain breed is usually, you know, the most, problematic.
Sure.
So, I don't know.
Anybody else interested in readdressing the animal ordinances in regards to vicious animals?
I won't dismiss the conversation as a whole, but I put it pretty low on the priority list, and when we compared to other projects I think that we have ongoing that probably are a wee bit more critical, and by wee bit, I mean a long shot more critical. So although I don't think it's necessarily need to be dismissed, I don't put any urgency behind it.
I would agree with Freeman.
I think I've been directly approached about that particular issue, and I would tend to agree with the general consensus. We've got a lot of big fish to fry right now. I guess it's being vicious to a fish, but I would rather try to keep our plate focused on the important things, really important things. Not understanding that, I mean, maybe we need to look at some point how our ordinances stack up to other communities in Johnson County and see where we're at. But at this point, that is a discussion that's best served for another day.
Well, it doesn't have to be a decision that's made, but it would be nice to revisit the data that was accumulated before and see if it's changed, and look at the actual incidence of especially dog bites, and find out, you know, what they look like. I mean, Chief, can you?
Yes, sir, if you'd like me to do it, I'd be happy to.
I mean, can you shed any light on whether it's a growing problem?
You know, right now, I can tell you that we're not having a significant issue with any kind of really dog bites or vicious animals. The bites that we're mainly dealing with are family pets, small dogs. There's really no breed-specific animal that's out there that's causing us issues or anything else. And I don't think we're any higher, nor do I think we're any lower than any other city our size.
Is there a way, would it be all right with council if you were to look at the data that was presented last time, and if it's not too much of a tax on protecting the citizens, kind of gather some of that information back up and provide it as an email to council members, as opposed to, you know, after reviewing that, you might gain some traction towards a consensus to move forward with studying it in the future.
Fair enough.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. I got.
I just have one quick thing.
Yeah,
Brian,
okay.
you sent us an updated weekly update on the quiet zone, which I appreciate. It looked like we're gonna send it out for bids on April 2nd, get responses back on the 21st roughly.
Actually, it's out for bid.
Okay.
We get bids back on April 2nd.
Make a decision on the
And
21st.
21st.
Okay, so I guess from my perspective, I just wanna make sure, I know that, city staff has been working with the Gardner Cemetery
Correct.
folks, and do you feel confident that we're not cutting corners and that relationship is going well?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
We've
okay.
had a number of meetings with them. The issue is when you get south of the tracks into the cemetery, we had to put a median in there. And so there wasn't an ability for people to turn around because there's a gate there. And we put a median there to block it. So we've been working with the cemetery board on where to realign those gates to. We actually went out and staked it. We thought we had an agreement. They came back last week and requested some additional fencing that we were not anticipating. So we're working through that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And I'm sorry, just one real quick thing about the quiet zone. We've been in communication with the property owners or the folks that have been the loudest squeaky wheels on the
I'd actually check. I'm not sure of the communication between the folks out along.
I think that might behoove us to do that, just to let them know where the status is on that project.
They've definitely seen us out there a lot.
Oh, yeah,